It's my first day at the New Mexico research facility, Black Mesa. As a requirement for my work, I must go through a hazard course, which I didn't really feel like, since I know my physique is already fantastic. But of course I had to do it anyway because it's company protocol. Much to the surprise of the scientists around the facility, it was a very simple and easy task for me.
Very good. I hardly noticed you.
My parkour was immaculate, my aim was on point. I mean, I'm practically that guy. Then I came to a room where there were some locked doors and I needed help to open them. And these helpers, they were not those guys. I will admit my anger got the better of me here since I didn't even plan anything out at all before going crazy. And that locked me out of the door, which was quite unfortunate. This left me running late because I had to manually weld my way through the door with bullets, which broke my weaponry, and on the way out to the tram, they confiscated my suit for manslaughter or something. Apparently, those turrets I shot in the training facility were wired up to a bunch of core systems, which left a lot of the tech in the facility failing, but I'm sure that'll be fine. On the tram ride, it seemed like a few things in the facility were actually going wrong, and there was also this weird fella in a suit looking at me. But I guess that's just what they do here. I made it to my sector and was let in by Barney.
Hey, catch me later, I'll buy you a beer.
Then I was harassed by a bunch of folks saying I was late, and also apparently a whole bunch of systems were down.
Hey, Mr. Freeman, I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess. They were having some problems down in the test chamber, too, but I think that's all straightened out. They told me to make sure you headed down there as soon as you got into your hazard suit.
Anyways, I got in my HEV suit, demolished some guy's lunch, and made my way down to the test chamber. On the way there was some lift I had to use to get further down the facility, but I'm honestly just not a huge fan of them because they're a bit scary, and I'm also incredibly strong, so I could just climb down the ladder. Things down there were not good at all, man. I had no idea how these folks were even hired when they can't even control their own tech. I made it to the room just outside the test chamber, and things commenced. We were about to conduct the experiment with the purest sand crystal sample yet.
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
All right, Gordon. Your suit should
So, anyways, I think their hypothesis failed. That's on them. I was never a big fan of machines anyway, so. Yeah. So I made it out of this test chamber. Apparently a lot of folks didn't make it, and things were blowing up left and right. Some scientists who were for some reason quite happy to see me alive
Gordon, you're alive. Thank God for that hazard suit.
told me I need to go to the surface and send help down, but honestly I just wanted to get out of there, so I let them live in their ignorance. Got myself a crowbar and broke through a glass door, and then, I decided I had just about had enough of the day and deserved a break. So, for once, I pressed the button to lower the lift I skipped last time, but apparently it didn't work anymore, and it sent some folk down. I guess they should have just followed my advice, I got up the ladder, and I saw some guy get mauled by a weird zombie-looking thing because his aim was trash. So to show him how it's done, I grabbed a pistol and nailed a headshot, which by the way is much more effective, and I was about to hand it back to him so he could practice, but it seemed like he didn't want it back. So naturally, I just kept it. Hey, it looks like it's lunchtime now. It's been a long enough day and... come on, there's nothing to eat here. I should have never destroyed that guy's lunch. I made my way back to the main office and through a vent to get to the smaller offices behind the server room. This fella got third-partied. And this guy gamed until the very end. Quite sad ways to die indeed. A security officer kindly handed me his weapon. Then I charged up my health and went on to the cooling rooms where I encountered some weird things, whom I naturally completely decimated with my big Glock. Strangely enough, I saw that weird guy in a blue shirt once more on the catwalk. And on my way up there I met Luke, the fastest stand in the New Mexico.
With my brains and your brawn, we'll make an excellent team.
But he thought his strength was his brain and not his physical capability for some reason. After escorting him to a room with a bunch of grenades and ammo, which had the door he needed to unlock for me, I tested his speed capabilities, and I can conclude that this Luke sadly was not so lucky. Perhaps that's why he was flexing his brain more than his muscle. I made my way down to some water pipes and rotated about to get to the other side. Then I encountered a big platform which I needed to flick a lever to use, and it took me down to some storage area. However, on the way there was a bunch of head crabs that jumped at me, once again proving my point that lifts absolutely are not worth your time if you can avoid them. I got to this platform and encountered an alien so fat it broke the entire bridge. Thanks, fatty. After suffering a pretty big fall, I made my way back to the canal-like area and saw some of these aliens fight each other. Looks like this isn't much of a coordinated attack, more just a big hunting session. So I joined them and became the alpha. Then I came to a room with big ol' hanging boxes and once more proved my parkour capabilities. After that, I went through some corridors to see that I had actually crossed the canal. I made my way back to an elevator, which I reluctantly entered, and with fear in my eyes, activated. It seems like this thing was going pretty slow, so I decided maybe it was just best with a break. So I sat down in the corner of the lift and called it a day, with the fear of the lift breaking down, of course.